Today we're going to look at entry hooks and exit hooks. We're going to do those together, and I'm going to let you explain it, but from what I understand, it's all about keeping the reader hungry. So tell us more.
That's a great way of putting it. It is about keeping the reader hungry, and it's about keeping them hungry all the way through your book.
Mm.
So, we've all heard the advice, the first line of your book is the most important. And yes, that's true. But every time a new scene is started, it's an opportunity for the reader to put the book down. And you don't want that, or you want that to happen as few times as possible throughout your story.
Okay.
So the way to do this is with entry and exit hooks. The entry hook is what gets the reader to not only start the scene, but to keep reading it. So it's what pulls the reader in at the beginning that they have to read that scene. And when they get to the end of the scene, the exit hook is what makes them think, oh, I have to start that next scene. And when they get to the next scene, there's an entry hook and they go, oh, I got to start this scene. And then they get to the bottom and there's an exit hook, and on it goes. And so the opening and ending of each scene is very important to keep your reader hungry and excited about your story as they go through it.
So these are cliffhangers, and what I've heard in other terms is people refer to this as the soap opera sequence. It's basically how you end, and then you bring them back in, and they keep tuning in again and again and again. And I think we're all very familiar with that because the world is constantly bombarding us with, attraction. Let's interrupt. Let's keep you attracted
Mhm.
here. So how do we do that? How do we keep them wanting more or wanting them to come back for more so that they don't sleep?
Right. So there's a few things there. One is variety is key. So you mentioned cliffhangers, and that is one great way to have a hook.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you ended every scene with a cliffhanger, it
Mm-hmm.
gets tedious to the reader. They know what you're doing, and then they start skimming and don't want to read it.
Right.
So for opening hooks, a good way to do it is to start right in the middle of the action. And especially at the beginning, the reader doesn't have to know everything. But if a scene is started without the preamble of two people meet and hi, and it's great to see you, and how are you, and we haven't seen each other, the normal chit chat people do,
Mm-hmm.
that's dull. Skip right down to it with, I know you're cheating with my husband. That's the first line of dialogue. Okay, that's pretty inflammatory, as opposed to, hi, we need to talk, blah, blah. And so that's an entry hook. So you can do that. You can foreshadow trouble. You can use a strong line of dialogue, like I just have shown. You can raise a question. You can give away a secret or a little piece of a secret. And what you don't want to do with hooks is to waste words on extraneous description. So just get to it, do as little description as possible to get to the exciting part, and then use description in the scene for depth and making the scene vivid.
Okay. Okay. So we have the entry hook, and the exit hook is pretty much doing the same, or how does that work?
So the exit hook is very similar, but the exit hook is where you would throw in a cliffhanger once in a while,
Mm-hmm.
but not all the time, and not the last scene in your book. So even if it's a series, if you end with a strong cliffhanger, the reader is going to be seriously annoyed and may not buy your next book, or may do what I have done, and you get the free sample on Kindle and just read the solution to the cliffhanger and then stop reading. Because I was quite mad when this happened to me, that I read a whole book and then there's a super cliffhanger in the last scene. So be careful with cliffhangers.
Right. Right. Okay. Well, cliffhangers, we'll keep them coming back. So, how are we going to do that? We've been going through our anchoring and our scenes and all these different fine little details. How do we make sure that we're using entry hooks and exit hooks? What's our task today?
Okay, so the task now is for you to go away and look for what you've done for an entry hook and an exit hook for every scene. What I want you to do is keep track of what you did. So if it's reveal a secret, write that down. If it's a cliffhanger, write that down. If it's an open question, the same thing, write it down. And you want to look at the beginning and the ends of each scene to make sure, one, that you have an exit hook or an entry and an exit hook,
Mm-hmm.
and two, that you're using variety with them and you don't have too many of the same type in a row.
Okay. Okay. So we're going to go through those, each of our scenes, and take a look again. And then we'll come back with the remainder of our 38 story elements. Again, it's a lot of work, folks, but you can do this. It's going to be great. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for watching.
Try Fictionary Storyteller free for 2 weeks at fictionary.co. Storyteller will get you one step closer to telling that powerful story you dream of.